Look, Jesse, it wasn't Congress that did this. It was 4 people, 4 guys. I call it the law firm of Schumer, McConnell, Johnson, and Jeffries. This whole debacle was avoidable. It was preventable, foreseeable. In fact, it was foreseen and warned of. But these guys are falling into the same rut that they've been in for a long time, which is the firm, as I call it, negotiates a spending bill in secret, releases it just hours or days before we're supposed to leave for the Christmas holidays. And inevitably, it's full of garbage. And that's what happened.
Wait, so you're saying, hold on, just back up. So you're saying these 4 people, you're saying Jeffries, Johnson,
Schumer, McConnell, Johnson, and Jeffries, the firm.
Okay,
They did this.
Okay, McConnell and Schumer, they cooked this up for the last 85 days in secret, dropped it on everybody Wednesday, and this is where we are.
Yes. And it has failed. It's failed miserably because the American people are awake. They have access to X. They have access to Watters World. They have access to information and to apps that will help them quickly digest this information. This does not work. It's an historic moment. It's fallen apart. And as a result, somebody's going to have to lose their job over this. I don't think the speaker is going to remain in power.
And guys, I just want to thank y'all so much for being here. Thanks for hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. You guys are absolutely amazing. Let's jump in. That's going to be bad news for House Speaker Mike Johnson. To make it worse for some of these lawmakers, Senator Mike Lee is pushing for either Elon Musk or Vivek Ramaswamy to fill that position. Now, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance wasn't amused about this plan to have a government shutdown. In fact, he was visibly irate when he was asked about it. But it's kind of funny how journalists are now back at their jobs after 4 years of asking lawmakers a whole lot of nothing.
The Democrats just voted to shut down the government, even though we had a clean CR, because they didn't want to give the president negotiating leverage during his first term, or during the first year of his new term. And number 2, because they would rather shut down the government and fight for global censorship. They've asked for a shutdown, and I think that's exactly what they're going to get.
Now, if you ask me, we should probably stick to single subject bills. Stop flooding these bills with so much garbage all the time. I mean, it just makes sense. And it makes it that much easier to discern where both parties are when it comes to policy, which shows the American people who we should vote for depending upon the values that they show according to the votes within the House or the Senate. It'll also force these government officials to actually do their jobs. And it's showing us that President-elect Trump, together with Elon and Vivek, are calling for transparency. Because look at the difference between how bills used to be and what they introduced for a vote. The bill is less than 150 pages. Because you and I are not stupid. We know for a fact that most, if not all of these lawmakers don't read these bills that contain 1,500 pages. Come on, y'all. If we want them to work efficiently, it's only right that these bills be shortened and streamlined. Maybe even put a cap on how many pages a bill can even be before it's submitted. What do you guys think about that? But that didn't make things okay for Democrats. It seems as if they were pissed about all of the pork that was removed from this initial bill, one that included a pay raise for these same people. Does Congress need a pay raise? I mean, they get enough vacations. Most of these congressmen come in non-millionaires and leave millionaires. Wonder how that happens, which kind of begs the question. Have they done enough work to even warrant a pay raise from us, the people? Now, if you ask Democrats like Hakeem Jeffries, these things are more than necessary, citing that this new proposal is not worth their time.
The Musk-Johnson proposal is not serious. It's laughable. Extreme MAGA Republicans are driving us to a government shutdown.
Now, what's even funnier is that these Democrats are fear-mongering about the possibility of a government shutdown, as if it's really going to be the end of the world. Some of them are shouting and raging at the idea of cutting costs. Just look at how Representative Rosa DeLauro is reacting to it.
They agreed on a bill.
They signed it.
And you know what? They got scared because President Musk told them, President Musk said, don't do it. Don't do it. Shut the government down. Imagine. What does he know about what people go through is when the government shuts down? Are his employees furloughed? Hell no. Is he furloughed? No. And when you shut the government down, people don't get paid. And maybe if none of us got paid if the government shut down, some people on the other side of the aisle would feel differently about where we're going. in this effort. We had an agreement. But you know, this is not different from what we've experienced over the last year and a half or so. Think about it. Biden, McCarthy, deal, come together. Next day, walk away. Johnson, Schumer, deal. Next day, walk away. And now this deal, walk away from it. Who do we trust in this body?
You know what's really hilarious, guys? These are the same people that voted yes on sending billions of dollars to foreign countries. How come they didn't scrutinize those bills as much as they're doing on this one? Now, we also have to note that the previous bill wasn't very popular, at least not popular with the American people, which essentially led to this change that we're seeing right now. And I think Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna said it best when she was given her time on the floor. Watch.
I'm here today because I realize that the plan that's on the table currently to keep our government open, but also the promise from the only president in my lifetime who's ever followed through on all of his campaign promises to the American people. Excuse me, I'm not done talking. Give me the same respect we give you guys.
The House will come to order. My colleagues are reminded the gentlewoman has the floor. She has the right to be heard. The gentlewoman has the right to be heard, and the gentlewoman would be reminded to direct her comments to the chair. The gentlewoman from Florida is recognized.
From the only president in my lifetime who's fulfilled all of his campaign promises to the American people, has promised to cut hundreds of billions of dollars in reconciliation. You want to talk about shutting down the government. The deal that was negotiated was largely rejected by the American people, which, to Speaker Johnson's credit, pulled it from the floor, which is why we are here today. The deal on the table will keep the government open for the American people, and if you guys so choose to shut it down, it will be on you, but not the Republican Party. We will not be going back to the table. This deal stands as it is.
But of course, much like what's happened with bills under the Biden administration, it took until the 11th hour to get things just right for both sides to agree.
We're grateful that everyone stood together to do the right thing.
The third spending bill attempt by House Republicans was passed with bipartisan support just hours before the midnight deadline.
Congress has a responsibility to keep the government open and operating for the American people.
The measure includes federal funding until March 14th, $100 billion in disaster relief, and $10 billion in farm aid.
There were three major victories. We didn't get everything we wanted, but I think if you look at the vote in the House, people felt pretty good. It was virtually unanimous.
House Democrats have successfully fought for families, farmers, first responders, and the future of working class Americans.
This short-term deal is what political science experts predicted would occur.
When different parties control the chambers, when we have an outgoing president and an incoming president who has a lot of power over the current members of government, we end up with essentially a game of chicken, and we get these short-term spending bills rather than a full-year budget, which keeps us governing by crisis every few months.
The House Speaker attempted to meet President-elect Donald Trump's demands for this version of the bill, but had to work around them to avoid a shutdown. This meant not raising the debt limit. With Republicans controlling the House, Senate, and the White House next year, they will address it then.
We are going to unify this country, and we are going to bring the America First agenda to the people beginning in January.
It's worth noting that this bill was only 118 pages long. Is it a sign that things are slowly changing with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy lurking in the background? Or is it time for one of them to take up the position of Speaker of the House? What do y'all think about Vivek Ramaswamy or Elon Musk being the Speaker of the House? Now, one thing is for certain, both men now have the attention of the federal government together with those in Congress, with Democrats panicking at the idea of how much sway Elon Musk has with President-elect Donald Trump. Now, speaking of panic, legacy media is full of it these days, guys, especially with Donald Trump suing different outlets for defaming him all of these years. Now, I covered this in a previous live stream where CNN is visibly concerned about what they're going to do next. Make sure to check that video out. But as always, appreciate you guys for being here. Thanks so much for hitting the like button and subscribing. Check out my previous videos that are coming up here, and I'll see you guys on the next one.